If you're a small business looking to grow on Amazon, it's very likely that you are looking for a service provider, partner, somebody who specializes in Amazon that can help you take you to the next level on that marketplace. And today I'll share some thoughts on how to choose that service provider, that partner, so you can have a meaningful, fruitful, and most importantly, profitable relationship for your business. My name is Irina Balurko. I'm a partner at Red Rocks e-commerce, where we help small businesses grow profitably on Amazon Marketplace. And as a service provider, but also somebody as a small business who's been in both shoes of a partner service provider, but also in shoes of a client, I've had, developed certain, experiences just like all of you on the relationships that work and the relationship that don't work. We've also had clients that came from other agencies, and I always ask, what is it that didn't work? Because I want to make sure that I understand what were their experiences, maybe their challenges or problems, so we can avoid that in our working relationship. And also we've had clients that, that perhaps in the end it didn't be a good fit. So they either took Amazon in-house or they went looking for somebody else. And that's normal, right? So that's why I want to make sure that you don't have expensive lessons or experiences going from one agency to another, because there is a number of criteria that I recommend for you to rely on when you evaluate who is that right person, team, they can help you manage and grow your Amazon channel. All right, so we'll start with the first one. And by the way, if I have taken you friends outside today again, the natural lighting is always better, even though half of my face is better than the other lighting wise. But if you hear, I'll call it ambient noise, it's tropical birds in the background. It's not babies screaming, but those birds are kind of like babies sometimes. All right, moving on. Let's go to the actual subject. So today, yes, how to choose service provider, and the first is business fit. And by that, I mean, are you a small business who wants to work with a person or a small team? Are you a small business, but you would like to work with a larger agency that have more resources? So it's really size. I think does size of a company who you partner with, it does impact it because it creates certain dynamics, right, of the relationship. And you want to make sure you understand what type of client profile that they work with, so you get the attention you deserve, and they obviously have all the resources on the other hand to support you in every aspect on Amazon. So the second element of what I call business fit is also a model of their services, meaning are they specializing in Amazon? For example, we are Amazon only channel because our stance is we prefer to go deep rather than wide. We're also a fairly small team. We work with small brands, so we have kind of a controlled growth, and that's on purpose. So there's some larger agencies that do not only Amazon, they do full digital marketing. Perhaps maybe they do websites, maybe they do social media, they do Google ads, and so on. I think, on one hand, there is appeal of, okay, I want to have it one place where everything, all of my digital presence, all of my e-commerce is managed. There's pros and cons to that. I'm not going to talk about that. But then there is also element of, okay, because, for example, we're very disciplined in our mastery, there is certain kind of advantages to that as well, because we can dedicate 100% of our attention while we understand how overall digital marketing works. We dedicate 100% of our attention to Amazon. There's no right or wrong, but I think it's really being clear, okay, understand the size of the team, how big the agency is, or whether it's a small team, whether it's one person, what do they do, what type of services they provide, this depth and width of their services, and also what spectrum of solutions they provide. The second one is be agnostic to the category. Meaning, while experience in your specific, for example, if you do, grocery, if you do sport accessories, if you do electronics, and so on, I think there is definitely certain nuances to every category. There is a benefit, right, to working with somebody who's had experience in that, because, they develop expertise, understanding of that category in Amazon. Certain data is built up. You understand who are the players and so on. You understand how you perhaps a little bit how your supply chain works and your products and so on. So there's definitely argument to how that is important. However, I've also come across where a potential client would make that a must criteria. For example, if you as an agency do not have experience in, let's say, skincare, we would not consider you for engagement. I think that's a little bit kind of a black and white approach, and because somebody who is good at what they do will always know how to add experience to their arsenal, meaning that if you've had experience in one category and another, you worked with a number of brands, then parlaying and adding to that with nuances of other category is actually not that big of a pivot. It's not that big of a shift. For example, we've come, can you hear the birds? Right now, for example, if we got, right now we've worked probably by now with every category on Amazon, including frozen food, go figure, that feel like we've covered pretty much the spectrum of it. But let's say if we got completely brand new category, I know what type of questions to ask to make sure I get that learning curve very fast. So while you do want to ask them their experiences and maybe case studies in your specific category, I would not make it a must criteria for choosing who to work with. So be agnostic to the experience of your specific category. So the next one is ability to listen. Their ability to listen, meaning if your conversation with a potential service provider goes with them leading, talking about their solution, I would, rather than starting with them asking questions about your business, I would, it would be a little bit of a red flag for me. Meaning I think part of, what I consider part of me being successful as a service provider, as a partner, is my ability to listen and lead with listening, understanding first. Call it discovery, right? Whatever you want to call it, it's really ultimately listening. So for example, when if I start a conversation with a client, I'm not going to jump with my solutions because right now it's just going to sound just blah, 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 right? It's going to sound very generic. I need to understand what path of the journey you're in, what challenges you have, perhaps maybe your goals, and then I can tailor from that big toolkit of Amazon specific, solutions and, things that we do and services to help you make the right decision, whether the right partner or not. So it's really ability to listen, their ability to listen and ask with questions first before talking about how they can help you. So kind of a watch for that. Number 4 is communication. Communication model, communication cadence, communication dynamics. When we have somebody coming to us from another agency, I always ask, as I mentioned earlier, what is it that wasn't working? Why you left? And 9 out of 10 times, it's actually not, we didn't get results. We didn't get sales that we wanted. It was something around of we were not listened to. We would not feel that we were important. We felt we were just a number. Those are verbatim. I write that down because I want to make sure that's imprinted in my memory. So we never be that, right? So those are really the things I hear. And I think anytime when there is lack of results or just bad experience, it always preceded with some type of communication gap. It's either not having right expectations on the both sides on how to communicate, or just not having communication, or delay in communication. Amazon is not a channel that tolerates being slow. Sometimes winning the battle is being fast and agile. And that includes communicating, that feedback loop being very frequent and quick. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying have excessive communication. I don't like calls that could have been an email, right? I don't want calls that are just kind of where we have a call to talk about another call, or so they need to have some tangible outcomes. But I think, for example, if questions that I would ask, I would say, okay, how do you have set communication pattern? For example, we have a set communication cadence, and that is for a reason, because we want to make sure we have time to do work. So, and we know how we work in terms of how we get results. And, part of that is kind of a makeup of our team. So, we have a set, for example, discovery call. There is a set of, kickoff call. Then there is, first month is you have 2 calls. And then, there's certain reporting, very set reporting, weekly, monthly, and then set monthly review call. So it's a very set it's not because we don't want to talk to clients, but it's because we want to get results for our clients. So ask, okay, what's your main channel of communication? Is it email? Is it calls? Is it Slack? Is it Voxer? I don't know, whatever. Is it combination of that? When I send an email or a call, what is the usual turnaround for me to hear back? How do you provide reporting? If I don't talk to you for 3 months, how do I know how well I'm doing on Amazon? So those are kind of the question to ask, just to understand how they work. And I would also watch out for, it's whatever works for you. On the surface, it sounds great because they can accommodate. On the other hand, it could reflect complete chaos internally, because if there is no really set framework on how the team works, or how that person works, they don't have certain boundaries, that have certain discipline in how they operate, that it could be kind of an indicator like, well, how do you, it sounds, it could sound chaotic. Like, to me, that means like it would be a reflection of, well, is it consistent performance? So I would probably then ask more if it's however you want, we can communicate. And the last but not least criteria to evaluate the right partner or service provider for Amazon is compensation model. In our space, and I think it's common to overall digital marketing. I've obviously talked to peers with other Amazon agencies and solo Amazon providers. They see the most commons are a set, let's say if it's a project, a set fee. For example, Amazon setup is usually a set, well, for us, it's usually a set fee because it's a very set deliverable, right? And sometimes it could be, a month, it could be 3 months, right? It's really based on, on the scope and then a fee. However, for ongoing support, ongoing kind of helping you grow your sales and managing channel, very common model is some type of combination of a monthly retainer, percentage of sales, combination of that. It could be and or. And sometimes if it's advertising management, it could be also a percentage of ad spend, right? It could be, for example, a monthly fee and or percentage of ad spend. I would say 99% of service providers out there work on that. Again, there is no really right or wrong. It's really making sure that it's something that works for both sides, right? So it's equitable for you as a business, equitable for your service provider to deliver what they promise on. So kind of ask questions around that. And if you are just kind of as somebody who is in the shoes of a partner, from my side, I think if you're very growth oriented, make sure there is also incentive captured in that, which is where that percentage of sales come in. So that's kind of the core compensation model. That's probably I'm pretty sure I'm not leaving anything out of how most of providers work. So again, no right or wrong. It's just kind of a way for you to understand where it sits right for you, and then where the numbers fall, how they should work for you, right? So those are 5 criteria on how to choose service provider for Amazon. If you have any comments, comment below. Check us out at redrocksecommerce.com, and we'll talk soon.